Hello and welcome once again to Living in the Lakes area. I'm Judy Anderson. On this week's program, we travel out to Milford to meet landscape artist Frank Fisher. Frank's seasonal series of paintings of a beautiful bridge in Milford are now available in print, and his talented artistry reminds area residents that after all the terrible things that have happened in Milford recently, it's still a beautiful place to live and work. Have you ever wondered what all the fuss is about with garlic or ginseng? Well, Denise Strong finds out just what they and other herbs can do for you when she talks with Cindy Miller, an expert in herbal healing, in our second segment. And in our last segment this week, Gul Karp travels to the Wonderland Mall to take a trip into virtual reality. He takes a look at one of the first businesses in Michigan to offer this high-tech form of entertainment. So don't go away. Living in the Lakes area. We'll be right back. Frank Fisher has lived and painted around the Milford area for most of his life. The area's natural beauty and historic architecture provide endless opportunities for an artist. He started painting at the age of 5, inspired by his father, who was also an artist. Today, he runs an ad agency by day and can be seen around town passionately painting landscapes every chance he gets.
I like landscapes a lot. I probably prefer those over most other subjects. I also like to do still lifes. I do a lot of still lifes for color studies, for practice, for learning, just because it's an easy setup and I can control the lighting and I can do it in the studio if the weather's bad. But I prefer the landscape. There's a lot more to challenge there.
So how do you pick your subject matter?
Usually what catches my eye. I don't know if there isn't an exact formula or anything. It's just something that strikes me. There's something magical I see there that I think is worth reproducing. So that's how I go at it.
So it doesn't have to be anything really in particular. You like water? Does it, or trees or?
Yeah, I like things that have to do with nature. I like to have the natural element in there, but I also like the man-made stuff. I like architecture, the older architecture. I like kind of that balance between man and nature and that conflict that goes back and forth, you know. Man pushes nature back and nature creeps back over it again. So I kind of like that balance. I like to have both elements in there.
So Frank, how do you paint? Do you paint from photographs? Do you go out on site? What's your technique?
I prefer to do it on location. For certain types of paintings, I have to refer to photographs. If I'm painting something that's at night, or if I'm painting something where the sun changes the light, then I'll have to paint from a photograph. But I really prefer to paint on site. The colors are a lot truer, and you're a lot more factual in your base of what you're taking.
So you go on out with the easel and you just set right up
the old Van Gogh type profile.
Oh, that must be neat, though. You probably get a lot of people that walk up to you and say, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, a lot of people looking over your shoulder and that. Most people kind of keep their distance if they see your painting. They watch, but they watch at a distance. And then when they see you're kind of relaxed a little, then they'll come up and say something. So usually I'm so focused, I'm not really aware that they're there.
One of Frank's favorite subjects to paint is the actual railroad bridge south of downtown Milford. The bridge has become a series and is now available in print at Main Street Art in Milford. In the tradition of Andrew Wyatt and Claude Monet, he has painted the bridge at different times of year, at different times of day. In these paintings, the effects of light, color, and the atmosphere around the bridge become the real subject of his work.
Wasn't intentional. It came upon by accident. I saw the bridge several years ago, and it just happened to be the right light or something. I said that would make a nice painting. I did that painting, and I was satisfied with it. And about 3 weeks later, I drove by it again, and I said, well, that would be kind of nice too. So I did a second one. About halfway through the second one, I said, I think I'll keep an eye on it, and maybe there's a lot more than just 1 or 2 here. And 3-4 years later, here I am, and there's 12 now that are done total. So
and the series here reflects kind of the seasons.
Yes.
You have a winter and a fall and a summer and a spring.
Yeah, I really tried to focus on the light and the season and the mood rather than the bridge itself. The bridge kind of just became a receiver for the light, the place where the colors and the mood and the atmosphere all revolved, but actually the paint and the colors to me was a true subject. And that's what I looked for in the differences, is not necessarily did the bridge change or did the trees change, but how did the light in that all change. The other elements, the trees blowing down, limbs missing, whatever, that gets recorded, but it was secondary to me, and it just depended on my reference. In all these cases, I pretty much worked from photographs. I did some color studies, but mostly photographs. I would have had to set my easel up in the middle of the road from the spot that I chose, so
Yeah,
it was
that could be
a
quite
safety
dangerous.
consideration.
Yeah, yeah. Now you've chosen 4 of your paintings, and they have become prints, and they're signed and numbered. Tell us about that.
Well, it came time that I wanted to start selling the artwork, and there was something that bothered me about breaking up the images. I liked the fact that they made the strongest impression when they were together. So I said, well, one way to do it is if I could find a way to sell them together, and the widest dispersion was by going to a series of prints where I had all 4 together. And I chose 4 just to be a little realistic about it. And I took 4 different seasons, spring, summer, fall, and winter. And I tried to, out of the 12 I had, I tried to pick times of day that also kind of progressed. And the first one, spring, is in the morning. The second one's late afternoon, early evening. And then the fall one was sunset, which is towards the end of the day. And then the last one is winter, and there really isn't a time of day to it. It's just the snow's just fallen. So I tried to put a progression in there. It didn't exactly work perfect, but I like it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what's next for you after after this print series, which is actually available here in Milford at Main Street Art? But are you progressing on now to more subject matter in this area? Or?
Friends and family like to see me paint something. You know, it was never, what are you painting, Frank? It was, for the last few years, this is, what bridge are you doing now? You know, because it got a little redundant. I still like it. I'm still keeping an eye out on it. I have a few other different paintings that I'm working on now. So I'm not so regimented, so disciplined just for this one image. I've got some lighthouses I'm painting now. So. Still Michigan, still local things, things that kind of have a boyhood charm to them for me. So that's kind of my guide.
So the next time someone's driving around Milford and they see an easel out there and an artist behind the easel, it could very well be Frank Fisher.
Swerve out of the road if I'm by the bridge,
too. That's right.
For more information on Frank Fisher's Bridge Series, you can contact Main Street Art in Milford. For Living in the Lakes area, I'm Judy Anderson.